Episode 149 of the BIC podcast. There is no joy in Mudville. The Jays are about to go down 0-2 in the ALCS. Yikes. But nonetheless, we do have a couple of different things that we'll be talking about on this episode. We'll talk about bounties a little bit. And this week, obviously, when I do talk about the AMG incorporation of it, Series 1 of the Hockeys is coming. So the hockey season is upon us. We are officially in the time of the Hockeys. Playoff baseball is underway. Hockeys has started. The footballs is going full steam ahead. There's a lot going on. We are full-fledged into the sports calendar, and we'll give you the latest update on how far away we are from the Fall Expo. It cometh. The spooky season rolls on this episode of the BIC podcast. Yes, under the watchful eyes of Brett Favre, the spooky season does roll on, and it is Canadian Thanksgiving. And I, for one, am thankful that we're not Eric. No, that's it. That's what I'm thankful for.
Oh, okay. I don't blame you.
It's important to be thankful for something, Brandon. It is important. And as a follow-up to a previous discussion, there was a Canadian Football League game on Canadian Thanksgiving. I didn't know. And then it was advertised in front of me, and then I shared it with the guys. In fact, there was a game that was put on. And I believe it was Ottawa and Montreal. So there you go.
And makes sense. A valid question.
And they played the line.
Yep, there you go. It in fact did exist. And not only that, the entire hockey slate on the Mondays catered specifically to Canadian Thanksgiving. There you go. So happy Turkey Day to the Canadians. Of course, by the time this episode drops, it'll be the day after. But also, in the spirit of spooky season, Eric, I did look at the calendar. I looked a little ahead. And I noticed, obviously, look, I mentioned earlier that a lot of these things are falling on very interesting parts of the calendar. Next episode, 150, will be a live episode because we're going to hit 5 years in one day of there being a live on the channel every single week. But Eric, if that was not enough, if the spooky season is not enough for everybody, October 31st falls on a Friday. So once again, one of my favorite things Eric, I in fact get a Friday Night Live spooktacular.
You do. And I know you love the spooktaculars, even in January, March.
There is no time in which the spooktacular is not great. But I actually get a spooktacular on October the 31st.
No, that's impressive. Yeah.
It's all coming together. It's all coming up Millhouse, Eric. It's all coming up Millhouse.
I'll be at the Shriner show that day, and I will, as I do every year, try to get from the show to, here to get on this show.
Do you drive the little car?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's why he said he will try, because I'm sure things don't go that.
The reason, Brandon, the reason he's saying he's trying is because he already, in the previous Friday Live, already declared that he's going to fight all the Shriners. He's already picked a fight with the Shriners. He's picked a fight with Dan from Dan with some Sagas. He's picked a fight with Dan's Vintage Baseball. He's picked a fight with Matt from Providence. He's picked a fight with their friends, their family, their spouses, their children. Basically, anyone who shows up, Eric will fight you and punch you in the face.
Eric, so could you outrun the Shriners in the little cars with your bike?
Yes, I believe I.
Oh, we need to set this up. I'm just saying. You always talking about, finding ways to earn, some stuff to donate to the charities and stuff. We need to set this up. Mm-hmm. This needs to be an official Shriners card show event where the guys in the little cars race Eric on his bicycle. I want to see this.
Brandon, I got to tell you, the content gods have been generous. Not only are they giving me a spooktacular, they give me this. This is spectacular. This is greatness. It really is. It's working out. Anyway, all right. We're going to talk about a couple different things. So let me start off with comments from last week. And thank you all, as always, for the engagement. We appreciate it. So let me start off here right at the first. We got Brian North here. Mentioned Eric's bit about finding Bobby in the Pokemon section is so underrated. Brian North appreciates you, Eric. And we appreciate you, Brian North. Thank you. Josh here says, movie review. Yes. Score, a hockey musical. So that's one vote for the movie review and a suggestion. And I also know what Score a Hockey Musical is. And Eric, I could you give a line?
I have not seen Score, the hockey musical.
Oh, but trust me, Eric, Josh is giving the suggestion. I think you should just go with your line, sight unseen.
Shut up, Josh.
A hockey musical. Josh, how dare you? How dare you? That's why I needed to make sure Eric said the line. Said the line. We'll consider it, but that right there, that's a punishment. I'm not a musical kind of guy. That's not my cup of tea. But nonetheless, we'll take the suggestion under advisement. Next, Bob Oozle says, like Bobbles, I have pulled a Vladdy Daddy auto from a pack and have the same issues where I can't retain certain movie plots. I can't retain movie plots or some song lyrics. I've had head injuries. So, Bobbles, there is sympathy for your plight.
Yeah, and you'll get to Mrs. Wade comment too.
Yep, we will get there. So then Mike Ham joins in. And now Mike Ham also has hearing comprehension issues. He says, I want to see Sailor Moon Bobbles. Now, that wasn't what we were talking about. We were actually talking about Bobby. But, Eric, to be fair, that could just be Ham wanting to see Sailor Moon Bobbles. That might not have actually had to do with our conversation. Just maybe a general statement.
Yeah.
In which case, Friday night I have established, Eric, and I've been very clear on this issue, we do not kink shame.
No.
We do kink judge, though. We can kink judge very harshly. Like, there's a lot of judgment coming down on that one, Ham.
Judgment.
There's a lot of judgment happening. We do not shame, but we will judge.
Oh, no.
So
we will.
Can I share a little secret?
Is the secret your OnlyFans link? Because Ham might want.
No. We ain't going down that path. No.
All right, just making sure it's important. We have make this clarification
now, right?
We do. Yes.
And they do some pretty damn good work.
They really do.
Unfortunately, I found a picture of Bobby. It was a recent one that he had shared in the chat, and I tried to put it into the AIs and have it turn Bobby into a Sailor Moon so we could share what it would all look like, and the damn thing wouldn't do it for me.
Damn.
I was trying.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
You need to continue to try, but you know something. But don't bother. November's almost here, and I'll just take a picture of him in his costume at the expo, and that'll be fine.
I'm just saying, our AI overlords are mighty. For folks in the audio, I'm not going to explain it. For folks in the video, you know what's happening. You know what has happened. We're moving on.
Is that in the art museum? The Louvre?
It might be.
Is that what it's called? The Louvre?
Brandon, it might be, and it should be. And I'm not saying, Brandon, that I have physically made copies from Vistaprint, but I'm not saying I don't have physically made copies from Vistaprint. I might have 2 envelopes full of those pictures. Allegedly. Allegedly. Moving on, but thank you for your comment. The rest of the responses are, he said, Bobby, not Bobbles. Hashtag not happening. Ham says, now I want to see Bobbles. I think that's what you meant the first time. Baboozle says, gonna invite the Because I'm Carlos crew to my clubhouse to act out Sailor Moon episodes with my prized Labubu collection. We always appreciate Baboozle joining in. Ham says, gold you are making, sir. YouTube gold. Jerry, gold.
Gold, Jerry.
That's right. And then, of course, Kathy Wade joins in. Thank you, Kathy. Brandon, I am the same with movies. 10 minutes later, I don't remember any of it. Thank you, Kathy.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. She's notorious for this. We'll go to we have a family movie night, and we'll put a movie on. I'm like, Mom, have you seen this? No. And about halfway through the movie, she'll go, oh yeah, I think I did see this. This seems familiar. And you find out that she watched it like 3-4 days ago.
Nothing wrong with that. She made it halfway through before she realized. So there you go. She enjoyed at least half of it.
Indeed.
Yeah. I go, all right, so you already saw this. She goes, yeah, but I don't remember how it ends.
It just depends on which half you remember. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, notorious for doing that to us.
Notorious, indeed. There you go. So those are the comments from last week's episode. I also briefly want to touch on 2 comments. from the, well, I'll touch on all three. Why not? So I did do a pickup video from some recent Medano pickups, but I also opened a box of the Hockey Cards Gong Show repack, where I pulled a Jean Beliveau on card autograph out of 10. Nice card, pretty
Very
solid. It is also made reference to in the Hockey Card Gong Show. Louis, by the way, and maybe I'll touch on this maybe through the episode. Lou is actually Louis is discovering what a lot of people have already known, is that I'm kind of jaded when it comes to cards. I think it's a nice card, but I don't do backflips. I don't get overly excited about it. Like, I've pulled one of ones and stuff like that, and some nice cards and some cards that have sold for good money. Like, but it doesn't move the needle for me. One of the comments here, though, kind of plays into it. So I think actually the card is quite nice, and I think for somebody's collection, it's going to be really good. So there's nothing wrong with the card itself. I wanted to make sure I acknowledge the card, but also I'm not going to be, the most excitable person when it comes to the poll. But nonetheless, it is a very nice card. And if you watch the video, you got a chance to see it a little bit better. So in that video, I had a couple of comments to it. One of them was from Just Hockey Hobby, and it said, "Awesome Habs legend, nice PC." So I said, thank you to that. Now, Hockey 99, infamous commenter. I'll briefly touch on it here. Why not keep it? A Jean Beliveau on card auto is awesome. And then my response is, because I don't collect Beliveau, don't need the card, and don't want the card for my PC. So it would just collect dust in a box. Just those reasons.
So I've seen.
Doesn't mean it's a bad card, just not for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I just want to mention, since you were talking about that, and I did watch your opening of it.
Thank you.
In Lapper's Discord, someone bought two and opened them, so I just figured I would share since you were talking about it.
Sure.
One was a color coded from the cup out of, it looks like 22, Patrick Waugh autograph.
Oh, I think I saw that picture. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
And then there was a Jaromir Jagr OPG Premier rookie PSA 10. So they had bought
Solid.
2 boxes, and that was their 2 hits. So
yes, solid. I think the Waugh, I think they did very well. The Jagr's a nice card. During the pandemic, that Jagr went nuts. Like, that Jagr card was crazy during the pandemic. It's still a very nice card. Let's not get this twisted. The reality is they made a lot of them. But in the 10, I think the 10 still holds good value, though. I think it's still a very solid card.
yeah, the problem was, as you said, the pandemic. The card went crazy, and it got people opening more wax and sending them in, trying to get that 10 because it went so high. So I think it inflated the pop a little bit on it during that period.
Oh yeah, but it was always going to be super high pop anyway, because that card is not short printed by any stretch of the imagination. So I've got it in front of me here. I just pulled it up. The population is just shy of 4,000, so 3,962. The last one sold for 142 US, so very respectable, not bad at all. So I'll probably break even with the product, all in, or at least close to it. Like, it's pretty solid. Again, very solid card. But during the pandemic period, like, whew, it went crazy. If you go back in time and you check out what they were selling for at one point, it's nuts, actually, what it was. But yeah, it's got almost 4,000 pop, but still very good. And the Waugh is very decent. So there have definitely been some nice cards that have come out of it. One other thing that I did make mention, though, and I included the price that I paid for it and everything else, is that I did purchase said repack card from our friends at AMG Collectibles, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel, amgcollectibles.ca. I will be back recording an episode again this week. The Collector of the Scalps, Collector of the People has returned for episode 150. Very exciting. We got another anniversary episode. And we'll be talking about, I believe, 25-26 Series 1, the hockeys. So that is one of the key pillars of the calendar, right in time for Fall Expo. 25-26 Series 1, the hockeys. That's a big one. Young Gun chases on with a lot of different things. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about a few other things related to it. And since I make mention of it, again, I thank AMG for their support of the podcast and the channel. And since I make mention of the expo, we are now, the countdown is being updated as we speak, recording this episode. 23 days.
Oh,
So-
boy.
It's getting there. It's getting real, people. It's getting real. We're recording this on Monday. It's going to drop on Tuesday, so deduct one more day. But by the time we get to the Friday, we're pushing under 20 days, Eric. Under 20 days.
Oh, my goodness.
The end is nigh. It approacheth quickly, rapidly.
Oh, my goodness.
I will actually be in the Canadias when the episode drops tomorrow morning. Now, I don't know if I'll be up there that early, but I will be in the Canadias in 3 weeks.
I was about to say, yes, when that episode drops, yes.
Well, when this
Absolutely.
one, yeah, when this episode drops tomorrow, it'll be 3 weeks and I'll be up there
That
because
is
I'm
right.
actually
Yes.
heading up early, a couple days early. So
Yes, 3 weeks from that day. So it approacheth. It approacheth with the quickness, Eric. We're getting there. So there you go.
Just quick blink and boom, expo.
Like I said, specifically with the whole month of October, since it is the spooky season. Seriously, we have the spooktacular. By the time we have the spooktacular, Eric, we'll be less than a week away. That's how fast it's approaching.
Yes.
That's how fast it is. Don't blink. It's coming. So move on. I think it's time for the silly card of the week.
All right.
Let's talk.
All right.
Let's talk about last week's silly card of the week. We've got our results. We've got almost 50 votes. Very
Oh,
nice.
man.
So thank you all for the participation on that one. Remember, we count every vote. It is the only true democracy in this world. So we did count all the votes from this past week. And here are the results for you. We have 24% for Vlad Sr., 24% for hashtag wrestling. And with 51% of the popular vote this week, the Rally Monkey was victorious.
All right. People.
I don't understand this week's voters. I see 49 of y'all down there. I see the 4 likes. There were no comments. I don't understand y'all this week because I'm not even protesting it on my own behalf. That wrestling card was just damn funny.
It was. It was. And like I mentioned, when Eric showed the Rally Monkey thing, I was like, you realize we actually have cards with mascots all the time. Literally all the time. Gritty.
It's a monkey.
Literally gritty.
It's a monkey on a baseball.
Yes. Yes.
It's a monkey on a baseball card.
All right. Well, Eric, if you think that's ridiculous, I am going to do better. Because this week, I have planned for this situation. I have planned for just such an outcome. So, once again, we're having a community post, as always, and you will be able to make your selection from our 3 choices for Silly Card of the Week. Brandon, are you ready for this week's options?
I'm ready. I like mine this week.
All right. Here we go. We're going to start. So, first, Mel Bridgman of the Devils. Explain your case, Eric. Make your case.
This card's got everything. We got some prehistoric Photoshop here with the helmet and the jersey. That helmet is just awesome, and the silver color. I mean, the Devils didn't wear silver, boys and girls. That was not one of their colors for their helmets. But we got a silver bucket. That's obviously been photoshopped here. So the jersey, again, not a New Jersey Devil jersey. That's just been colored in. And then you have the fact that this man has no teeth. I mean, you want to see what a hockey player looks like, especially back in the day. This card sums it up. This man has no teeth. And how in the world can you not? You can't ignore that stash. I mean, that stash has a life of its own. So when you look at the bucket, the jersey, the teeth, and the stash, I mean, this card is special.
Mm-hmm. I see.
The only thing I was paying attention to the whole time, Eric, honestly, your approach to going O-Peachy.
Everything's O-Peachy.
Everything's O-Peachy.
Everything's O-Peachy.
Everything is O-Peachy.
It really is. All right. Eric has made his pitch. Brandon, give us your case.
Hey, so last week I went in an homage to Vlad Jr., using his dad's card, being silly. So this week I'm using the 96 Upper Deck and giving an homage to the Seattle Mariners with old-time Mariner Jay Buhner, and this little guy here, him and Jay biting the bat. Now, I gotta give Jay a lot of credit because the part that he's biting on has to taste disgusting because it's got tar all over it and the stickum. But and the way the kids look at him like, why are we doing this? I thought that was kind of funny too. But yeah, funny picture. Got a kid. Who doesn't like kids on cards, right? And then an homage to the Mariners with Jay Buhner.
I definitely acknowledge that biting into Pine Tar must be just horrific.
Oh yeah.
And the kids look like, "Okay, are we done? Can we stop doing this yet?" Yeah, that's a beauty.
Hmm. So I appreciate the concept in which this one's brought up. I don't appreciate anything Seattle Mariners in the moment for reasons. Just throwing it out there. But I understand. That said, though, Eric, you talked
Mhm.
about a monkey. Well, you started with a monkey. I
Yes.
raise you broccoli. You see, my friends,
Oh my good God.
SpongeBob SquarePants. I
Hold
give
on.
you
Can
yes.
I interrupt real quick?
Go ahead.
I almost went this similar route. These cards are ridiculous. Go ahead.
I give you Topps Chrome SpongeBob SquarePants. This is pulled from a breaker, Layton. This was pulled, and it is a 1 of 1 from the kitchen of Sheldon J. Plankton broccoli. It's a super factor.
I don't want to be in this hobby anymore. I'm I'm good. I'm done. I don't need to be in this hobby anymore.
Broccoli. Bam. Brandon, I'm sorry. The people know what to do. People, broccoli super factor. Broccoli super fractor.
So I was going to go Superfractor. I was going to use one that you've actually seen with the air quotes autographs of the Disney princesses to talk about the values of them. So just since we've got it up here, the most expensive that I see on Terapeak for SpongeBob so far is it's actually real autographs from the voice actors, so I'm going to give it that much. But voice actor cards normally don't go for a lot. However, you have the triple auto of Squidward, Patrick, and SpongeBob voice actors, Superfractor, $21,500.
No, I was right. Bye bye.
All valid. But all I have to say is broccoli. Broccoli, goddammit.
That
Can
broccoli
mayo be
card,
far behind?
it's probably going to do a few grand looking at the other supers here.
But Brandon, my concern, my question, and this is important for reasons that will become apparent. People do the right thing, first of all. Second, in SpongeBob, there is a section. I'm not a big SpongeBob watcher. It kind of was after my time. However, I know a meme when I see it. And in SpongeBob, I don't know the context, but SpongeBob and his cohort were in some kind of a battle, and one of them was using mayonnaise as a weapon. This better not only be available, this better be available as a super factor. No cost is too great. I will spend every dime Eric has to make sure that it is possessed by the BIC universe.
Now you got me wanting to look at the checklist.
I'm just saying. We need this as a people, Brandon. As a people.
I don't want
We
to play.
need this. We need this. Just saying. Hashtag broccoli.
What has happened to our hobby?
I'm going to call it hashtag broccoli fractor.
Blaster cases. A case of blasters for this stuff is going for over $2,000.
Amazing.
Shame, shame, shame.
Indeed. So those are our silly card of the week choices. Community posts will be forthcoming, and you can make your selection then. Shall we move on to pickups? Let us move on to pickups. So this week, pretty light for me. I will discuss also part of the reason why I did do the Expo countdown, but obviously as we're approaching the Expo approacheth, I am being a little bit more selective. I am having to kind of hold back because now is the time to kind of hold some reserves back because I do want to make sure that I have some fundages for the Expos. So that's always the thing. But for the moment, I was able to acquire an item. So I'll quickly share it and then we'll open it up if you guys want to share. And I was able to procure from the land of Comsey another Chosen Rosen card for the Chosen Rosen PC. And also, a quick side note that I will make after I share it, but we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. So, real quick, I'm going to start off with this here. Let me show the window, and here we are. So this is one of these Leaf ones. My only real rule about it is I want 2018. So in this case, it's a college jersey one, but I guess that's what Leaf was doing, which is fine. Bonus, because it's Metal Draft Prismatic Purple, but, BGS holder, as you do. We got it all in a 9.5 with all 9.5 subgrades and a 10 autograph, which is legit. And it's double legit because the 10 autograph little, square is, of course, off center.
Yeah.
And look, just to be
It's
clear,
Black Label if it wasn't for that.
So close. My favorite thing about this, Brandon, is that I still have people in podcasts saying, Becca can make a comeback. Why? You can't even, the autograph thing is off center. It has a slot for it. Like, it literally has a slot, and you can't even get this right. Look, it's a Josh Rosen card. It doesn't matter. It amuses me nonetheless. I bought it dirt cheap. That's not the point. The point is, these holders are garbage.
The company
They're
is
not.
garbage.
Well, I think
They're
it's
not
actually
good.
in the slot for it. They just cut it off center.
That's what I mean. Like, it's bad. And by the way, the card is also off kilter. I'm gonna have to tap it in order to realign it because it's off. Even with the inner sleeve, it's off kilter.
Yeah, no,
It's literally tilted.
I saw that. Yeah,
And that's with the inner sleeve. The inner sleeve, which can hold it in position.
just so bad.
There are levels of fail to this. Levels of fail.
Did BG do this one?
Maybe. He had himself a couple of margaritas. He was having a good time. He's going,
Talking
I'm
about
Big
the
Bri.
office.
I'm Big Bri. And he was trying to put the slab together, and it just wasn't working out.
Went down on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
Big Bri. Well, he tried. He tried, I suppose. I guess. But yes. Outside of that, for the most part, I'm kind of holding back because I am trying to hold some reserves. I'm keeping an eye open, though. If there was some stuff out there that was possible, I'd be happy to pick up some of these things. I will say, though, and I talked about it on the Discord, I died of laughter. I'm going to see if I can find the post. There was a post where somebody else, unironically, Eric, claimed to be a Josh Rosen super collector. And I was like, they do exist. There's the one guy that I knew about, and now this is a second separate person. I'm like, what
I
is
think
happening?
he said he started in 2022 buying him.
Yes, scandalous.
But are they
After the run.
I mean,
So I'm gonna
you're
see.
not being serious. Are they being serious?
Yeah.
Oh, they're being totally serious.
Ugh.
I'm gonna see if I can find there was a specific. I actually took a screenshot of a quote from this person, so I will see if I can locate it. In the meantime, Eric or Brandon. I think Brandon this week no, but Eric, is there anything you'd like to share for pickups?
Yeah. So I tackled two things at the same time. So I like to collect rookie cards of anybody who ever played for the Bruins. Whether it be 20 years or one game. If you have a rookie card, I like to add it to my collection. So this week we got Guy Gendron, who started his career with the Rangers, but he jumped around even on his rookie card. In two campaigns in New York after maiden pro year in Providence, Canadians had a deal cooked up for Guy until an injury canceled it. So he was always jumping around, but that's his rookie card anyway. And then here he is with the Flyers on a 6970, which I have autographed. Because I collect 6970 autographs. So I picked that up around the same time as his rookie. So I'm happy to add that one. And then another 6970 and former Boston Bruin, the Clown Prince, Eddie Shack. And that's a really nice Shack auto. He did a real nice job on that one. He had a nice auto. So two 1969s, 70s autos, both former Bruins, and a rookie card.
Could you hold the Guy 69 auto up again? The correct way.
No, that's the correct way.
No, not the auto, the card. Just hold the card correctly. Carlos, do you see the resemblance?
Sorry, I was just looking at it. Resemblance between who? Him and who?
Eric. Throw
No,
some
not him and
glasses
Eric.
on that fellow.
He's got way too square a jawline, man. Like that jawline, that face is very like drooped. Like it's I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't
There's
think the
some
hairline would match up either.
I have hair. People don't realize it, but I do.
But I'm just saying. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to leave this one to the chat. Comment section, you tell me. Do you see what Brandon is seeing? Do you see the resemblance? Is that a thing? He's literally not showing any teeth in the image. So I don't know. I'll leave it to the audience to make a selection on that one. So y'all let me know. I'm open to hearing it, but like I don't see it myself, but I hear what you're saying. So I'm not sure. So I'll leave it to you.
What you're putting down there, Gandalf. So why don't you just shut it?
Don't make me pull out the AIs.
Oh, the AI. Listen, Eric at this point should know, like, I might have to expand out that rule to be clear, not just who can Photoshop better than you, who can AI overlord better than you. I demonstrated some AI supremacy already in recent weeks and months. Pretty impressive. So yeah, so I think you already mentioned you're out this week as far as pickles, Brandon. I think we're on
Yeah, I just
standby.
have my I've been picking up stuff on season, prepping for the expo. So, and I don't want to share screenshots or whatever. I'll share them when they come in or whatever. So
that's fair enough. But for the record, I did that with the Rosen. Like for me, I don't mind those ones. Like for me, it's fine. Now
it's just more. I know it's harder on you because I'd have to clip them and then send them over to you and all that stuff. So
it's all good. It's all good. So I found the comment. So this was actually, first I'll show you the post for the video that it was on, and then I'll actually read you the comments. So this is the post. This is from Chris Sewell. So baseball card collector, dealer, investor. So it was the video where he was talking about that. The video was talking about 3 hobby stories. A YouTube mistake, an interesting buying strategy, and a strange law, kind of talking those 3 things. So talking, right around the midway point of the video, he shows this Josh Rosen card. This is one that he had originally, that he had purchased it. He purchased it after Josh Rosen's initial run with the Cardinals, kind of on the buy low, sell high concept, because obviously we've already proven, by the way, with Joe Flacco, we've chosen with Sam Darnold, we've proven Baker Mayfield. Like it is possible for somebody to fail at their first stop and then potentially maybe latch on somewhere else.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah, Danny Dimes. So the quarterback redemption arc is real. Sometimes you buy somebody who's a backup, maybe they failed in their first stop, and maybe if they find the right situation, the right coaches, the right personnel, and suddenly it works and things kind of fall into place for them. So he tried that concept, and in this case, it was Josh Rosen. It didn't work. So bottom line, he lost money on this card, but that was part of the story. But in the comment section, so that's the video, and in the comment section, there was one person who responded. It was a Dennis Tan here, and I can actually show you the screenshot of this because I pulled it up for the Discord. And I'll read it to you. I've got it big enough here, but just in case, I'll read it to you anyway. So this person writes, I'm a Josh Rosen super collector. I had to click as soon as I saw the video drop. I have over 800 graded cards of his and organized by type, along with an Excel spreadsheet for each card and price paid. I started collecting them in 2022 and still today. His cards are pennies on the dollar, which is cool for me as a collector and not a flipper. So, Brandon, I was sitting there going like, man, there's at least 2
competition.
Dang.
Oh, goodness.
What is happening? What's going on? Crazy. You never know, man. You never know where you're going to find these folks. They're out there. Now you know. So see? The show's a Rosen. It's not quite the Jason Robertson pump, but I got to tell you.
Let me ask this though, and I know you only do it for fun.
Yes.
But like obviously I've talked about my Taylor collection and I've joked around. I don't think anyone else is collecting it. But then when I went to the game and I seen like how many people were wearing his jersey and the standing ovations, and I've seen cards bought, and I'm always like, who in the hell is buying them? Doesn't it make you like kind of feel, and again, I know you're only doing this for fun, but when you're getting some of these pieces and you're like, damn, I've accrued a pretty nice collection, knowing that there is competition and other people out there buying it, it's like, okay, he's not a Hall of Famer. He's never going to sniff the Hall of Fame. He'll probably have to pay for his tickets, even though he's, played in the NFL. But I got a pretty damn cool collection.
Well, the pretty damn
especially
cool collection
knowing other people buy.
Well, the pretty damn cool collection was the reason that I challenged myself to see what kind of a collection I put together, in pennies on the dollar, kind of playing into what he was saying. But I got to be honest, Brandon and Eric, with what he said though, he said he had over 800 graded cards. And you know what my thought was? Hey, dude, can I interest you in this box? Holy crap, my man! Listen, can I show you things? Let me show you the sights that I can show you inside of this magical. This is not quite, Eric's trickle trunk box, but it's pretty magical. There's a lot going on there, man.
You should find out. Wasn't the shield or something up at one point that you were following to see who in the hell was like how high it would go? I wonder if you
Yeah.
bought the shield.
Well, right now the shield was relisted. Somebody listed it for $2,000. Like it got put back up on eBay. Yeah, like whoever got it, they relisted it. They put it back up on eBay. So
So that's where things go a bit too far. I
like
actually had one on my watch list that the person had listed for 1,500 or 2,000 that I was like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, like it's just so high that I'm saying that look, handful of competitors or not, like the pricing doesn't get there. Like the money isn't there for that. Even in the comment, he says pennies on the dollar, which I agree
Yeah.
with. That's kind of what we're talking about here. Like realistically, that's more in line with reality. It should be pennies on the dollar at best. But nonetheless, hey, good luck to him. Obviously, if he's enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. Literally, my pickup was a Josh Rosen card. So I'm still picking up Josh Rosen stuff, but I am not paying much. Very much pennies on pennies of the dollar. So that's kind of the approach that I take to it. Well, listen, not all of us, although sometimes maybe I get into Reggie Lemon and money. It's a lot,
Just for clarity, in case anybody was wondering which one I had on my watch list before y'all thought it was Robertson or somebody like that. It was a Jerome Simpson. And the person had it listed for 1,500 or 2,000, something like that. And I would be interested in it at a much, 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 much lower price. But yeah, I'm not going to come anywhere close to that.
Indeed. So there were a couple of little mini topics that we were going to touch on. So let me start off with this one, and then we'll segue over into another conversation that I wanted to have. And actually, that Josh Rosen thing kind of inadvertently plays into it as well, since we were talking about how somebody had bought it and jacked up the price on it. There is different avenues for pricing to happen. Now we had talked about in the past. We talked about the record, almost $13 million sale that Shine and his consortium bought for I think it was the LeBron Jordan Logoman. So you had that one. And then on top of everything else, there have been a couple of other big high profile purchases. Well, the most recent one that was discussed, and I think Dan the Cardman did a video on it. And right now I'm going to show you the post. So the company that Shine and Kevin O'Leary and those guys put together is kind of this company, the consortium, they're calling it Secure. So they have social media presence and such. And they're basically bragging about all these cars that they're paying tons of money for. Like we're talking Eric Lightbutton money. This is serious stuff here. Very serious stuff.
Oh, very nice.
So the most recent one, and there is a couple of angles I want to take on this. So stay with me on this one. So this was a sale here they're talking about from September. And it was a 2018-19 flawless Luka Doncic rookie logo man 1 of 1. And this one here, they said they purchased it in a private sale. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. A private sale for $4.7 million.
Oh, how
now,
nice.
I have a few thoughts on this that relate to a couple of different aspects of this, and it's also going to play into another discussion I want to have. But for starters, just on this, I don't want to focus too much on the dollar amount per se, because it's really easy to say, oh my God, that's way too much money. Oh my God. And even in one of the comments here, can someone say money laundering? Well, you can make the argument if you want. And I don't see who the end buyer is going to be beyond this point. And that's something we were discussing before we hit record. But beyond that, though, I actually have a couple of different issues related to this. I don't care if it's a legitimate sale, but I've got a lot of issues related with the way this is presented and the way this is shown, and also the private sale concept itself here. So I want to get into that in a second. But first, before I do, Brandon, do you want to kind of share some initial thoughts, and then Eric some initial thoughts, and I'll come around and I'll kind of explain one of my issues with this specifically.
My initial thoughts are I actually witnessed this card being pulled the night it was pulled. And what blew my mind, obviously, at that point, Luka was the Luka and one of the sought after players. But immediately in the chat, the person who hit the card in a break was offered $150,000. Now, that was, 6+ years ago. And everybody, when it was shared around, in discussion, and back then I actually had shared it on Reddit, and the price that was offered, people said I was crazy, that no one would ever pay $150,000 for this card, which understandable. That was, 2018, 19. Things were a lot different in those days, especially on ultra modern stuff. So to see it today have a quote unquote purchase price of 4.7 million, congrats if that is the real case to the person who held on to it and sold it, because the initial 150,000 was turned down. And it's to anything that I know, the initial person that hit it was the owner throughout, and I'm assuming that's who they picked it up from at this point. So, do I feel the number is worth it? That's not for my wallet to decide, because I'll never play in that ballpark. I think it's a bit interesting that we're seeing these numbers on a Luka. He's had a decent career, but outside of being on the Lakers now, he's not. I guess I could. And Carlos might think that this is a little harsh on Luka's behalf. He's almost been the Mike Trout of basketball.
Oh, come on. I don't think he's,
even Trout's
he's not
had MVPs though.
Bought and sold for. Like, honestly, you want to talk about hashtag rigged. We're talking, like, if Luka had Mike Trout's PR people, he'd have 14 MVPs by now.
That's honestly possible. Yeah.
He needs people. Eric, he needs people.
Yeah, all need people, yeah.
If he could get some people, then, listen, I could get him up to 35, 40 MVPs by now. If he had Mike Trout's people, like, holy crap. Someday, Mike Trout will actually have a meaningful at bat. Not today, but someday. The Trout hate lives forever.
Definitely today.
Not today. But nonetheless, so I wanted to kind of lay into that. So before we get into, so initial thoughts, Eric, but I want to make clear, I'm not going to worry about the price itself, and I'm not even going to worry about the Luka part of it. I actually don't, to be perfectly blunt, I don't care. I don't care if these guys buy Luka. I don't care if they buy LeBron. I don't care if they buy, somebody else. I don't care if they spend 4.7 million, 47 million, 470 million. None of that actually matters to me. There are a few other specific issues that I have with this whole thing, and it really comes down to not so much the dollar amount or the specific card. That's not actually my main issue. My main issue is the way we're getting to some of this stuff. Like the $13 million card, if somebody wants to question if there was shilling that got it up to a certain price, it was still in an auction format. So the auction company, it's their job, it's their integrity on the line to make sure that they have vetted the people that are bidding in the tens of millions of dollars for these things, that they have made sure that like everything is to their knowledge, at least to the best of their ability. Because again, there's certain things you can do that there's nothing they can do. You cannot judge, you can't read into somebody's intentions. If somebody has enough money to bid on something and they make a bid on it, you can't assume that they're doing so strictly to get at the price to a certain point so that the winner has it at a certain price point. That can still be what's happening. But as the auction house, you don't have the ability, unless you're a mind reader, you can't figure out what they're actually doing unless they tell you. So as long as they have the means with which to actually execute on the bid and actually pay for it, you have to then assume that they're making the bid in good faith. You're not going to know. But a private sale, I got some issues with a private sale. Private sale has a different connotation. And that's something that I've had an issue with, the whole private sale concept. Advertising a sale that happens to be a private sale has always rubbed me the wrong way. And I'll elaborate on that in a second. But just initial thoughts, Eric, just before we continue.
My initial thought is this isn't going to affect me in any way, because it's not going to affect vintage hockey prices and how I collect. So my first reaction is, should I care? Should I pay attention? It's none of my business. Like, Brandon said, I can't play in that ballpark, so to each their own. But my second thought is, and it's me not understanding. Okay, so this isn't me judging, because to each their own. I can't wrap my head around spending these millions of dollars on modern. You can, because there will be many more autographed Luka cards. There will be other game used jersey and patches cards. And I'm sure at some point, if there hasn't already been since 2018-19, logo cards of his. So this isn't as rare as someone may think, right? And you can get players that are stronger market value with this same type of card. You can get ones that are lesser market value with this same type of card. It's not this super unique thing. So I can't understand that. Now, when you talk about Honus Wagner cards going for millions, yes, I still think they're overpriced. Yes. But when you have cards that are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old, and they're still in good to great condition, and thousands of them no longer exist, and only a small portion of what was made 100 years ago, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50 years ago still exist. And the ones that do still exist, how many are in incredible shape? I understand why some of those Babe Ruth cards, Mickey Mantle cards, Honus Wagner cards that are in great shape, why they go for the money they do. They're not making any more of those. They're very rare. They're to be in good shape, right? How did they stay in such good shape? Because now this card, came in the plastic like that. Other modern cards, you break them out of the wax and you put them right into plastic, right? Right into a mag holder, right into this, right into PSA, and they're protected. These other cards, like the Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth cards, Mickey Mantle, they were not protected. They were stuffed in the family Bible, maybe, or something, but most of them were glued in places, put in bike spokes, into some, high school, middle school kid, elementary school kid's back pocket with elastics around it. That's why those things are worth so much if they're in good condition now. So I just can't wrap my head around modern cards that they can make this exact same thing tomorrow if they chose. Why these are so expensive today? It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't wrap my head around it. Just like I can't wrap my head around why in the world a SpongeBob card sells for what it does, and broccoli card 1 of 1 is expensive, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Because a 1 of 1 superfractor broccoli is greatness, Eric. Vote early, vote often. Silly card of the week.
Well,
Make it
now
happen.
now that you've explained to me that it's greatness, it makes all the sense in the world. So
It's
thank you.
greatness. It's
Yeah.
it's utter greatness. But
Yeah.
yes. So let me quickly touch on my main issue with this. It comes down to the private sale piece. The private sale piece is the thing. Again, when it comes to the auction, we can talk about always it being shield bid. Is the fix in? Are there individuals who are participating in this working? Are they working together in concert to get it to a certain price point? And, you want to go grab some tinfoil and make it happen? Here's the thing. I'm not even going to fight you on it. For one very good reason. I don't actually care. How they arrived at that and what they did in order to get to that doesn't actually matter to me. But a private sale is more straightforward, actually, in the sense, because in reality, a private sale, the bar is so low for what we're talking about. Now, I know the card ladder guys say that they will vet private sales as part of a thing and whatever, and I'm like, okay. Most of the stuff that you're looking at, honestly, we can fake. We can do a transaction and I can transfer money one way. I'd have all the paper, I'd have all the numbers and all the paperwork would all line up. And then as soon as you're done looking at it, I can just transfer the money right back. It doesn't mean a damn thing. It really doesn't. And that's assuming you're savvy enough to be able to discern legitimate financial paperwork from fake financial paperwork. But for the sake of conversation, Eric, if I want to create this illusion, if that's all I want to accomplish, we can put together the greatest Reggie Lemon sale of all time. The highest Reggie Lemon sale ever in history. $57,000 for a Reggie rookie card that's torn in half. Why? Because reasons. There doesn't have to be any logic to it. It doesn't matter. Eric spent all that time in his kind of his thing. You know, I don't understand why. And he talked about these cards that have been. Age means nothing. I understand what he was trying to get at as far as, you know, organic, you know, scarcity over time and attrition. That doesn't mean shit. If somebody went out of their way, and this is why I kind of argue this with some of the vintage guys. If I went out of my way, if we all got together and agreed as a people to get together all the 91 Donruss in history and create the greatest bonfire in history, leaving one complete set left. There's one set left. Does that mean that each one of these cards should be millions? It's still 91 Donruss. We haven't changed what it is, but there's one set left, Brandon. All the other cards have been destroyed. It didn't matter how many you started with. It's how many we have now. Does that mean those cards should be worth millions of dollars?
I think in order to do that, that one set might not matter because we might actually kill off the like all living species because of the amount and pile that it would take in the toxicity of those cards.
Think about Brandon.
That one set may not matter.
But Brandon, think about after we killed off all life on this planet. You're going to find out when everyone's dead just how completely common the T206 Honus Wagner is. When there are 0 people left, the demand could not drop any lower. It couldn't. So honestly, the Honus Wagner's overpriced. Think about it.
I have 2 of them.
Yeah.
I keep one in this little cigarette baggy thing, and then I have one in a one touch like Eric likes.
Yeah.
They're not good enough to grade.
Nah, they're dirt cheap. But anyway, my point is that the whole attrition thing is like, that's just something that guys do to make themselves feel better. It's an argument they make. I don't care how we arrived at it. If something is limited to a certain amount, whether you started off with 1 or you started off with 1 million and then you wound up with 1 because all the other ones got cut in half or thrown in the garbage, doesn't actually make any difference. It makes you feel better. That's all it is. Because if we still wound up with 1, if we have 1 and we have 1, it's 1.
That's here nor there. I still think that rarity, again, it's an opinion, you know, and it's fine that you don't agree. I just think rarity of something that's still in great shape. Yes, you can. I mean, I've seen Mickey Mantles that have literally been through a washer machine and torn in half and taped back together, go for thousands of dollars. But I'm talking about cards that are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old that somehow survived with these legendary names that are in, you know, very good to pristine condition. I understand why those go for great amounts of money.
Yeah. Hold on. I got a question. Let me move beyond the counterfeiting thing, Brandon. Do you understand why they go for great amounts of money? Could they going for a premium? I can understand. If a nice one go on different levels. If one that's like a 7 or an 8 is worth a couple of $1,000, a 9 is worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You sure you know why that is? For one level up?
It's the same thing that, you know, my father told me when I first started collecting, and I said, this is worth X amount of money. And he said, that is only worth as much as someone is willing to pay for it. And if someone is willing to pay $100,000 for a card, that is how much it is worth on that day.
Yeah. But that kind of goes back to what you were talking about with the Luka. They were willing to pay, at least, again, private sale. Again, my issue is more the private sale. Because again, you know, Brandon already showed you T206 Honus Wagner. So we already know there's millions of those out there. Right. Like, that's not even, what are we even talking about? Like, honestly. Common as dirt.
So that's what,
common as dirt.
So that's what it's worth. And that's what, you know, a person that has, you know, deep pockets is willing to pay. And that's none of my business, and that's theirs. All I'm trying to say is Luka is still playing. He still has game worn jerseys with, um, the logo on it. They could make that card tomorrow. His wrist, his writing wrist, still works. He can write
That was
100.
his mom's signature, though,
I
allegedly.
was gonna say, yeah. What if his
Yeah,
mom?
so
What if his mom's not around? What if she's not available?
He or his mom could, write some more sticker autos or write on cards, and you could create that tomorrow with no effort.
here's something that and we've had this discussion before, but I'm gonna just mention this here again because it still kind of blows my mind. And I'm not big into collecting it, and I know that's probably the take on others' behalf, but I know you have some, Eric has some. What blows my mind about the price of this and many of the cards, especially in the modern end of things that are getting up into these millions, and we're seeing fanatics play the game properly with it, is the fact that we could have Luka's first rookie debut, full, intact, with the Logoman, everything on it, signed, authenticated, photo matched, everything. He could have scored 80 points that night, triple double, whatever. And it wouldn't sell for as much as the simple little card that has just the Logoman and his autograph on it. That's what really is getting me, because like some of these numbers we're seeing, and I mentioned the Fanatics thing because the debut patch cards, they're selling for more than likely the debut jersey in entirety would sell for. And that's just kind of crazy to even think about. We're literally putting a value on something with just a small section more than the entire piece as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes back to kind of what Eric's talking about. Like, I was having some fun with it. Again, I don't want to reveal too much about my, my private Honus Wagner printing facilities.
Right.
That'll be for later. I don't want to reveal too much yet. Soon. But anyway, the point that Eric was talking about the irrationality of valuing, this item that as he said, you could replicate, and I'm having a little bit of fun with it, the idea that you could. But here's the truth. I actually do believe that if someone was so inclined, if they actually gave enough of a damn, I actually think you could replicate a shocking amount of things that people think are super rare. I actually think you could recreate a lot of them. Again, if there's enough will, there is a shocking amount of ways. One would be shocked how many things you could do if you really are that motivated. If that's what you really want to do, there are ways that a lot of things could happen. However, my issue with what I said was that the nature of a private sale, the valuation thing, what he was talking about a moment ago, he said he had no problem, even though he may not agree with it, he had no problem thinking about why somebody would pay something for something in a premium high grade. And I questioned that, but I was a little bit more serious about that one because I said, we talk about the same people that in the same breath will talk about how, well, nicer looking car. I can understand why a nicer looking car would get a great premium for vintage. Well, I would push back and say, well, actually, there's plenty of argument that could be made that premium is actually ridiculous. That's premium silly, because in the same breath, the same person will also tell you about how grading is super subjective, how it can change based on it's inconsistent. So the PSA 9 of today could be a PSA 8 tomorrow. It could be a PSA 10 the next day. The PSA 10 maybe isn't a PSA 10. So all of a sudden, the multi-million-dollar PSA 10 actually is a 9, in which case it should only be worth a fraction of that. It just lost 45% of its value like that based on like somebody looked at it with a slightly different angle today. And that's all that happened.
That's and this is a little bit in a different direction, but it's not vintage. But when I started realizing doing the SGC submissions of how they just like cut out the pristine gold label, and like order after order nobody was getting one, I started selling some of my pristines that had some higher value because they were in the pristine, because it dawned on me, if I was to crack these out and send them again, there is probably a 0% chance that they're going to replicate the gold label. And to that point, then it just becomes a novelty. It's just a label on the slab at that point. So, but to your point, if the true belief, even in the vintage market, is that grading isn't as dependable as should be, or reliable as it should be, then you're right. Why even buy a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or anything like that? Why not just find the nicest 1, 2, or 3? Because those are more likely going to be, equated when you send them back, or if you were to send them back in, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
Well, actually, so just to be clear, the angle that I'm taking on this is not even not buying them. What I'm saying is that even if the card is rarer in the higher condition, given the subjective nature of it, what I'm saying is that you talked about this piece of a jersey being worth so much more than being able to potentially buy a full jersey. And that's kind of, you're looking at these two materials, and that doesn't make sense. I'm talking about the same card. I'm not even talking about different materials. I'm talking about, if I take this card and it's a PSA 8 today and I make it a PSA 9, the value suddenly leaps. And I haven't changed. The physical card has not changed in any way, shape, or form. This is still the same physical item that was here 3 seconds ago, but I put it in this holder and I moved it over to this holder, and now suddenly you're paying this gigantic premium in some cases because of the condition scarcity. The condition scarcity. But what happens is, why, if you want to put a condition premium, you say, oh, this set is particularly tough to find in nicer condition because it's got nicer centering. Its centering has issues, diamond cuts, things like that. There are different condition issues that you have. And you say, to get a nicer looking one, I would be willing to pay a premium. That in itself, I don't even object to. But my question is, when did it become the thing that it's like, okay, when I'm saying condition premium, Eric, I'm saying if it's an okay copy, I'm willing to pay $100. If it has this thing where, oh man, you nailed the centering on this one, oh, I'll give you $140 or $125. My premium is not gigantic. Somebody else will say, no, that's at least a $2,000 card. Wait, what? It was $100 a sec. It was $100 one grade lower. Oh no, but this one has the nice centering. So now it's $2,000. That's stupid. That doesn't. I'm sorry. The fraction of a difference that we're talking about here isn't worth a 20x multiplier to me. But that's what we're talking about. So I disagree with Eric's premise. I don't get why you would pay a multiple for a slight upgrade. But other people have decided that is the case. So the marketplace says that's the case. However, the good news is this. We happen to have a rule for this.
Number one.
No. There's a different rule specifically for this, Brandon. We've got a specific rule. Eric, do you have the rules handy? I need you to pull out the rules, and I need you to read number 8.
We need a scroll.
We should get a scroll. That'd be good. We should get a scroll.
Number 8. In the Because I'm Carlos rules.
Thank you.
Thou shalt not apply logic to the hobby.
Bam. Nailed it. There it is. But yes. So, real quick, I know we got on a bit of a tangent, but hang with me. My bottom line, though, is I don't care how much they pay for the Luka. I'm not even going to worry about whether it's legitimate or not. However, I will say, my opinion stands, I don't trust private sales.
Would you if, and I'm just throwing this out there.
If they gave me the $4.7 million, yes. If they gave me personally the $4.7 million, yes, Brandon, I would trust it with my life.
No, what I was going to say is, if so,
I was trying to get $4.7 million, Eric. This was going great.
If on these private sales to give some, I don't even know the word I want to use on this, but to give some relevance to the hobby, some security to show that, the legitimacy of it and everything. Do you think there should be I don't want to say a broker, but like a middleman that kind of conducts the sale? We can say that Card Ladder does their research and verifies it, but as you said, any of that could be whatever. If there was someone there actually witnessing and handling the sale, I guess to legitimize it, if like we said, okay, Ken Golden was the middleman, and I'm just throwing them out there because it's the auction house.
The thing is that Kenny's done that. You know, Kenny G has literally done. He has some private sales in the. He has brokered the deal. He's operated as the middleman, going like, "You give me the cash, I will get the card, then I will do this. Here's your card, here's your cash, and yeah." But then we're back to, okay, do you trust the middleman? Like it's a never-ending.
That was
loop.
the other question to it. Yeah, like
it's a never-ending loop. You know, like. There's only a handful of people that I, in this hobby, trust completely without question. Bill Mastro, no questions, none, no notes. Rick Probstein, no notes, and Big Bry. That's it. No one else is worthy of my trust.
Even back before the interwebs, when we had the paper booklets, people sometimes questioned the prices in there. So it's come full circle today in just a much larger, much larger scale. Is it legitimate or is it not really? I don't think this affects too many people outside of, like we were kind of discussing before recording. I think it's kind of like the Powerball when it gets up to $1 billion or billion plus, is it rigged? Did someone actually get that money? It just begs those questions. But if it gives people the hope that they have a chance and they possibly could be the next $4.7 million winner, well, that's what matters to the hobby.
It's all about that. But like I said, if we've learned nothing else, we've reiterated rule number 8. Thou shalt not apply logic to the hobby. And we've also learned that there are only 3 people trustworthy in the hobby. 3. Bill Mastro, Rick Probstein, and Big Bry. That's it. All the rest of y'all are liars. All y'all. I hope you all learned a valuable lesson from that. Moving on. Real quick, in the same vein, so believe it or not, this actually does segue off of that. Believe it or not. So, like I said, my takeaway is that I don't trust private sales. I just don't. Unless I get a big, sweet cut of the money, in which case, then I trust them completely. Could not trust them more.
Hey, you've talked about the Patreon. The Patreon could be the broker, the middleman, and we can pass it amongst each other until it gets to the final person. And I don't know, what, 10% each?
Yeah, like I think it's the fairest thing to do.
Yeah. And look, you think about that, 10% on the 4.7 million times 3. So that puts it up, I don't know, what, another $1.5 million. So you could do the final sale because you got the juice, right? We got to get the juice on there. It's now a $6.2 million card, give or take. My math was
the juice is loose. It's crazy. It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, they show me this Luka sale and they want me to be impressed by this private sale, 4.7 million. Brandon, look, I didn't want to brag. I showed off that Chosen Rosen card that I picked up.
You didn't say how much you paid though.
I didn't say, because again, I didn't want to brag. Again, I said it's a small amount. I kept it very nominal. But for me, a small amount.
You found the super collector.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying a small amount for me is like 40, 50, 60 million. So in reality, I was able to get a bargain price on that Chosen Rosen. A Leaf Chosen Rosen card, autograph on there, 46 million. And you're talking to me about 4.7. Eric, you're talking to me about 4.7.
Right.
I don't get out of bed for 4.7 million.
No. Why would
what are you wasting my time for?
I understand.
Now 4.8, I might get out of bed. Just throwing it out there.
Well, I know Eric's whole thing, and he didn't say this on his first impressions, but I could see it clearly through his face, and we've done this long enough that we can kind of read each other, read the room. Eric, I know your first impression was, who in the fuck would pay 4.7 million on a card that's not even in the holder correctly?
I was stumped by that.
Yeah, I could see it. I seen it. I felt you like thinking it, and I seen it on your face. I was just surprised you didn't bring it up.
I thought it was weird, but because we all know this is how you put cards in mag holders. Okay. That's how it's done. So you can go, hey, look at my card. And, it doesn't take away from the card. And it looks a lot nicer that way. That's how you do it, boys and girls.
I knew it had you thrown for a loop.
Eric has had a lot of concussions. Moving on. So segueing off of that, though, one of the things that we've talked about in the past that I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about is the idea of bounties. So in this case, we've got different ends of the spectrum. These guys making a private sale and again, going back to real quick, just to put a button on the previous conversation, you always have to bear in mind that if somebody does a private sale and they're the buyer and then they make social media posts bragging about how much they paid, you should look at that with a skeptical eye. Just in general. I make private purchases all the time. You don't see me bragging about it. Again, the Chosen Rosen one, only because you forced my hand. $47 million. Again, hashtag bargain. Bargain. Honestly. But bounties are a different thing. Now, real quick, bounties are not new, obviously. We go back to the ye olden days. You go back to the old Beckett magazines and such. You would have dealers that would offer dollar amounts that they'd be willing to pay for, if you've got this card and it's in nice shape, I'm willing to pay X and all that. There were ads like that all the time. 50,000 Mano were cards that people would be after, Honus Wagner cards. Again, numerous as they are, honestly, printed in the millions. But numerous as the Honus Wagner is, there would be different dealers that would offer, like, if you have one, call us and, we'll look at it. And if we're willing to pay cash, etc., blah, blah, blah. Some of them were more specific. Some of them would give dollar amounts. And then in that instance, it was a different thing. Today, it's taken on a more direct thing with the social media age. It's very in your face. It's right in front of you. We've talked about different bounties in the past, and just sticking the land of the hockeys, the Connor Bedard 1 of 1 gold outburst was one. Nobody claimed it, as far as we're aware. It never got claimed, but there have been other bounties like that. Now, Tops Now is another thing. I want to focus on one specific one though, because it actually hits me where I live, and also leads me to bring up a question that I want to bring up. So let me share the post, and I'll include a link in the description to it, but I'll also explain to you why this one in particular caught my attention and why I wanted to kind of use it as a launch off point for the discussion. So this one is an Instagram post from GP Sports Cards. Now, they're out there here in the land of Canadians, and they do a lot of breaking. They do a lot of things. And also the owner here purchases a lot of very nice high-end cards. He showcases a lot of them. He does collect some of them as well, but he also obviously sells some of them and included on it. So on this post here, he is specifically looking out for the 24-25 Ultimate Collection Hockey. That series just came out in the last week or two. Inside of Ultimate Collection, they do have Shield cards. And on the checklist, they have certain legends and Hall of Famers, which were included. And he has presented bounties for different players if someone has it. So if someone pulls one of these, they can reach out to them and claim one of these bounties. I want to read you what the bounties are. So I'm going to read you the whole list. And then I'm going to explain. I'm going to focus on a couple of specific ones that I think are worthwhile mentioning. So this is if you pull the Shield from 24-25 Ultimate Collection Hockey. Wayne Gretzky is at the top of the list with $225,000 offer, a $225,000 bounty on that specific card. Connor McDavid, $50,000. Steve Yzerman, $25,000. Ray Bourque, $7,500. Mike Bonanno, we'll get back to that, $7,000. Pat LaFontaine, $7,000. Rob Blake, $6,500. John LeClaire, $5,000. Keith DeChuck, $3,500. And Owen Nolan, $3,000 on the bounty for the Shield cards. So this post will be included in the description on there. Okay, a couple of things. At the end of the day, a business can offer anything they want. It is good for business because if you're a breaker, obviously it motivates people to open boxes because, hey, if I can pull the card, I've got a willing buyer. Automatically, I've got a buyer who's offering to pay a dollar amount that I can see right in front of me. So there is the offer of this amount. If you want to take your chances and put it in auction or whatever, that's still your choice. But you do have a hat in hand, literally, a hat in hand right in front of you here if you choose to go this option. So here is your cash out. and they've been good on a lot of these bounties, and they paid them in the past. So they've got a good, a good reputation so far for paying those. Now, here's my issue. I want to focus on a specific one. Obviously, Medano's on that list. Now, here's the thing. This is where the angle I wanted to take on this bounty question. You can offer anything you like, but I think where I get into a question, Brandon, is I looked at this list. Gretzky, 225,000. That's a spicy meatball, but look, you got the money, you can pay it, go for it, my man. The Medano, they're offering $7,000. Do you know what my first thought is with this, Eric?
You want to go get yours and sell it for $7,000?
So basically, yes. As a Medano collector, as a Medano super collector, who has literally 2,800 Medano cards, if I bought a box of Ultimate and happened to pull a great PC pull of that Mike Medano card, I would sell it to him for $7,000. And why would I do that? Because it's not worth $7,000 to me. Now, this is important. This is important because I'm not saying it's not worth money to me, because if this didn't exist and you put it on eBay and I had the chance to bid on it, I would, and I would offer like a decent amount. There is numbers in my head that would be acceptable to me, that I would be willing to swing some things and make the deal happen. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't want the card. What I'm saying is that it is not worth $7,000 to me. The other piece of the puzzle, though, the reason I bring this up, I don't have any comps of any other shields that approach that number. So I don't know how he came up with that number at all. I don't actually have any clue how he came up with that number. As far as I'm aware, I've seen some Medano shields sell for good money. I know some of the people that have bought some of them. And to me, the prices have escalated beyond where I'm comfortable. But that's still shy of that $7,000 number. That bounty is actually leaps and bounds. So go back to the conversation, remember, we had earlier? I may not necessarily agree with your condition premium that you would pay for one grade up versus one grade down and that kind of thing. Or you can say, I don't think the Luka should be worth that much because he's a current player and they can make more car. All the points that Eric was making. There is no comp that I can pull that comes anywhere near that number. I'm just using Medano because I'm more familiar with him than the other guys necessarily. We can look up the other guys and figure out similar things, but I can't find a comp that's similar. That number is saying to me, Eric, here is an FU Godfather offer. I want that card. I'm probably outbidding everybody, but if you pull this card, that means I want to have it because I'm making a super strong offer. I'm basically saying, like, I will have this. I would be very surprised if anybody else would counter higher. I think that's probably the top bid. So he's already put it out there right in front of everybody. If you pull one of those cards, and again, even as a Medano super collector, if I pulled that card, Eric, I'm collecting my $7,000. I'm walking away with it. But that should tell you something. That even as a super collector, like, you have now priced it beyond the point at which I would actually consider keeping it. And that's where bounties got to get kind of interesting. Like, as a business, I understand. Like, the Gretzky number is so crazy and high, but I get it because that's the biggest one. Like, that's, it's a Gretzky shield. That's huge. So I kind of get that. The Connor McDavid and the Steve Yzerman, I kind of get those. But then $3,000 for Owen Nolan. $3,500 for Keith Tkachuk.
What do you do with them after? Let's just say that guy spends all that money. It isn't like he owns Fidelity. Okay, he owns a card shop, and if you run it well, you can make a good living there. But that is a lot of cash going out the door if all those people come a knocking. You put that money out, you have all those cards now. What do you do with them? Because no one's going to give you that kind of money plus, because you can't come out even. That's just stupid unless it's just a publicity stunt. So you got to sell it for more than you paid to keep a business afloat. That's economics 101, I think. Who's going to give them that kind of money?
Do they run repacks?
They have I don't even know if it's a repack.
$25 card in a repack. How much are the repacks? $1 million a pack?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get enough. There's not. They don't. I know they have something like a buyback thing or whatever, but I don't think you can't pull enough. The number's too high. You can't pull enough to make it worth your while. The margin would have to be astronomical.
I
Like it
mean,
would have to be
What
off the
what I was
charts.
thinking is, do they run a repack and do they put where the floor is pretty low and the advertised ceiling, because you can make profit on it that way. I'm not saying it's the appropriate way to go about it, but it doesn't make any sense. And to your point, not knocking Medano at all, but 7 grand, that market. And we're seeing this more and more with the newer product and the way the products are going up. People are then trying to, you know, put a higher value on a 24, 25 or 25, 26 card than they would have an 18, 19 or, whatever going back further. And it's an imbalance right now. Like if that one's 7,000, I don't know what years you said that you had at least one shield I know of. I don't know what
Mhm.
year it's from, but if one from today is 7,000, then yours is equal or higher value dependent upon how hard it was, because we know older product, it actually was harder to hit some of these cards, and the products weren't being opened as much. So you know when do we get a correction, or is he just pissing away money to maybe putting these bounties out? As you said, it's a business move. We've seen it help the manufacturers sell more product. We've seen the hype, the cost of the products go up. We've seen more breakers breaking more product. We've seen people going out buying the product. It's the lottery tickets, right? Oh, the grand prize is $200,000 or whatever. People are going out to buy it. So maybe that's where they're making their money up. They got enough allocation to say, hey, if we throw these numbers out there, it's going to get people driving in, and they're going to want to rip this stuff because we're throwing out this hope, this grand prize, so to speak. I
Well,
don't know.
that's why I
It's
was
just
kind of
crazy.
that's why I was kind of asking. So I wanted to use this example because it's a tangible example where I can look at the numbers and be like, okay, I at least so just so we're all on the same page. Again, I do have an understanding of it. The Medano shields have crept up in price. And I got to tell you, like in all things considered, they have gone up. Like there's no question. A lot of these shields have. Timing was bad for me. I missed out. Like the steal of the century, Eric. The one that got away that I wanted that I was thinking about. The first year of Premiere, the first year of Upper Deck Premiere. Big fan of kind of the design. Very simple design. I was a big fan of those. I have all the Medano jersey cards and patch cards up to the shield. The shield is the only one that's missing from that, but I have the other ones. The shield 1 of 1 actually did show up on eBay. It actually was available for a brief window of time, and they had it at the time. I do have one shield card, and it was from Leaf, so it's unlicensed, which obviously drops the price down. I can tell you guys, I paid 400 US for it, which at the time was pretty strong for an unlicensed for shield. It's a shield autograph. It's a nice card for what it is. It's nothing too crazy, but I like it. It's mine. I'm a fan of it. Uh, and it's a game used piece. It's the game used shield. That Premier card was also a game used shield. It wasn't autographed, but it was the game used shield. And Premier was a high end brand, and it still is to a fair degree. But that was one of the spots that you could get a shield in. But the card was listed on eBay with a buy it now of 1,000 US, which was very strong at the time, but not like so far out of whack that it was ridiculous. But it was strong. It wasn't like something I could just snap my fingers and say, yeah, here, buy it now. I had to kind of think about that one a little bit. I go, could I swing that? Could I make it happen? While I was working out, I was working out the maths, trying to figure it out. Somebody snapped up and bought it, and that's it. That I haven't been able to get my hands on it since, and it's gone. Uh, Now I know there are some strong Medano buyers, and there are some folks that have multiple copies of Medano shields. And over time, that price has steadily crept up. I want to say the last couple probably were a couple of thousand now. There were a few. There is a Jamie Ben Medano dual shield. Obviously, both of my PC players. And I think that one went for north of 2,000 US. So obviously, these prices are escalating. They are going up. but it's one of those things where like there is a limit. Even if I have the money sitting around, there's a number at which there's a certain point at which I'm not willing to go any further. I'm not willing to entertain this idea. And for a lot of those shields, honestly, I've already reached that point. So the reason I pose the question is I don't understand how he arrived at that number. How did he come up with that figure out of the blue? Obviously, some of those cards have been sitting around for years, so it's not like we have a bunch of comps to play off of. I just went on to Terror Peak now just to look up. I was able to find a couple, only a couple, because again, they're shields. They don't show up every 5 minutes. There were two that sold back in 2023. That premier one was years before, like I want to say 2020, thereabouts. So that dual Medano Jamie Benn, dual auto, dual shield from the Cup. So 0910 the Cup, that was Jamie Benn's rookie year. That one sold in March 15th of 2023 for $2,339.95. So my memory is good. I was in the right ballpark. So almost, 2,300 and change. There was another one from Dominion, so Panini's Dominion. That was Ensign's NHL Shield, also one of one. That one sold fixed price, $899.31. February 1st, 2023. From there to $7,000. Did we take a wrong turn at Albuquerque, Brandon? Like, how did we just there? I didn't have an intermediary step. I didn't have the $4,000 sale. They got me to the $5,000 sale. They got me to the, like, how did we just, hey, it's a new product. And to your point, maybe his allocation is such that, hey, he can sell cases and cases and cases and cases of the product, and make a nice margin on it, I guess, maybe. And that helps offset. Now, I do know that the person there, I think it's Grant, I want to say, he does collect some very nice legend and Hall of Famer stuff for like his own PC. Predominantly, though, I feel like it's Lemieux and guys like that. So I think that's mostly for that. But again, he's also putting out, he's got Owen Nolan on that list. He's got a bounty on Owen Nolan. He's got a bounty on Rob Blake. So it's kind of like he opened it up to all the guys that are kind of on that checklist.
Well,
But I would love to know how he arrived at those numbers. I'd be fascinated to figure out how the maths worked out on that one.
I was on their site just trying to get an idea of what they were charging for break prices. The breaks don't seem to be too out of line of what it would cost you to buy 16 boxes.
Mhm.
They have a random team at 150 Canadian a team. Came to like 4,300, I think, if you bought all of them, and I did the conversion at 70% or whatever, like you said, and like looks like to buy a 16 box case would be probably your best bet is around 3,200. So it's not far off. Maybe $100 they're making on it on the margin. Obviously, their cost is going to be cheaper, but they have other bounties. They have $5,000 bounties on some of these breaks that are accrual if they don't hit a rookie shield. Like, and in those it says half cash, half break credit, but your break credit's still costing the business money. I mean, so I don't know. And I was looking, since you mentioned Medano, the stars from I see an $8 case break here. The stars are 100 Canadian, so call it 200 Canadian for a 16 box master case break. And there is not pumping. There's Robertson, and there's also I seen an Ottinger. I didn't notice if there was Wyatt or any of them, but yeah. So there's multiple shields to go after there. There might even be a Stankoven because I think that's still his rookie year. So, $200 for 16 box master case, you're basically paying spot price is cost of one box, but you're getting the team for the whole 16 box master case. So, I mean, that's not too terrible if you're a collector. So, yeah. And imagine hitting the Medano on $200.
Sure.
$7
I think what's
grand.
interesting though, and the reason why I felt like it was worth bringing up this question in this conversation. Again, I'm not going to assume anything because I know for a fact he's paid off on bounties before. So his reputation is such that they've paid off on bounties. So I'll take it at face value that if you try to collect on one of these, that you'll be able to. And again, they sell really nice stuff at the expo. They will be set up at expo. They buy at a bunch of different shows. They've been able to buy some really nice cards, and they've been able to sell really nice cards. So as a business, they've been able to obviously have some success. So congratulations, good on them. I think though, and this is kind of my bigger question. I posed the question of like, I would love to know how they arrive at these bounty figures. I know the numbers pop off the chart, but I would wonder like, I feel like we're missing a step. I'm missing some of the work. Like, you know, if you're doing your math equation and you show me your work, I'm missing a couple of lines that get me from where we were a moment ago to like this number that we're at now. And I feel like I don't see the in between. I'm not sure how we arrived there. So I'm missing that part. The other piece, though, is that in a way, and this is what always is a little dangerous about these bounties, especially when it's something like this. It's not necessarily the one big hit, it's these other big hits as well. You're almost creating, like indirectly, you're almost pushing up the price without actually having a sale because you've created this. So in theory, there is a number, this price exists out there that in theory you could collect. So if you pulled this Medano shield, maybe it wasn't worth $7,000. Maybe I'm correct. Maybe you could have put it on eBay and free open and it would have sold for a couple of grand, maybe, but not 7,000. But now all of a sudden it is worth 7,000 because technically someone will pay you. So Eric, whether it makes sense or not, and whether we have the maths to get from point A to point B, at the moment, as far as the market is concerned, it is worth $7,000. Because as long as you can go there and he'll pay it, there is a buyer at $7,000. It doesn't matter that there's nobody else necessarily who is a buyer at even 6,900. We have a buyer at 7,000.
Eric, I'm going to give you a homework assignment.
Oh, I love homework. Yeah.
Since you're friends with Ray Bork, we have the photo.
I'm an acquaintance of with Ray Bork. Yes.
Okay. You need to get us a reactionary comment or remark by telling him that there is a bounty for one of his cards for $7,500.
He already thinks a lot of this stuff is crazy. He you know, I next time I talk to him, which won't be for a while, I would assume. I mean, I don't call him up and just shoot.
But this is for science, so it's important.
For science.
Yeah. But the next time I see him, I'll mention it to him. But I know I've had conversations in the past. Just the other day, he was signing a doll, a Ray Bork doll that was, in the package still, and I'm like, man, you've signed so much stuff, but can you believe that there is a doll of you? And he's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. I just shake my head. Like he's very down to earth, and he just thinks it's ridiculous that there's like a Barbie doll type doll of him. So if I told him that there's a card bounty for $7,500, he'd just be like, that's stupid. He'd think it's crazy. He thinks all of it's crazy.
So I was curious. I was curious, and I went on the TerraPeaks.
The TerraPeaks. And
I pulled up Ray Bork, and I sorted to the highest price. There is 4 sales of Ray Bork that exceed $7,500.
Okay.
They are all O-Pee-Chee rookie cards. 3 of them are PSA 10. 1 is a BGS 10. Then the next drops down to somebody got a bargain at $5,750 on an O-Pee-Chee rookie PSA 10, and then it drops all the way down to $1,750 on a potentially game-worn Colorado Avalanche Ray Bork NHL hockey jersey. There's nothing that's card-wise outside of his rookies even close to that amount.
I mean, and Carlos said something earlier. It's like it doesn't make sense. I mean, if you come to the shop right now, I can get you game-worn Bork jerseys that are autographed, game-worn practice jerseys that are autographed. I have a plethora of Ray Bork game-used sticks that are autographed. I'm not getting $7,000 for any of that stuff. But some card with a little teeny piece of a shield on it is somebody wants to give $7,500 for.
Well, that's the interesting thing, and the reason why I bring it up, because obviously it's an outside the box way of thinking, but we talk about the values on some of these card things, and there is some people out there that make some very nice custom cards.
Yeah.
If you literally want a Shield autograph or something, like, you could save a lot of money just buying the damn jersey, having the shield removed,
Yeah.
getting a custom created, and then having Ray sign it, and you might be into it for a fraction of what that bounty is. So it's kind of crazy.
Well, that's the kind of thing. Like, look, bottom line is that part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is that, and again, I'll reiterate, it's not to criticize GB Sports Cards. At the end of the day, they can do whatever they want. At the very beginning of this conversation, I started with they can do whatever they want. They can offer whatever dollar amount they want for whatever card they want. And as long as if somebody brings the card and they honor it, Eric, I don't care. You are entitled to spend whatever dollar amount on whatever card you choose for whatever reasons you see. It can be marketing. It can be because you want it. It can be what. I don't care. That is your business. Completely okay. I just kind of like, as a collector, it creates this weird situation because that would be a really cool card that as a collector I would be interested in. But I said, I wasn't joking when I said, if I happen to buy 1 or 2 boxes of Ultimate and I happen to pull that card, I would sell it to him for $7,000 because it's not worth that to me.
No.
But it's still a really nice card. And Brandon, if it was on eBay, as like, if somebody listed it by accident, a $500 or $1,000 buy it now, I would buy it. Now, honestly, I'd probably still sell it for $7,000. Like, I gotta be honest. That's a quick flip right there, my friends.
Yeah, but there's the other side to it. There's other cards that you still have playing days that you're looking for. That 7,000 could put
it could put a big dent in a lot of
checklist of stuff that you've been trying to get for years. This is just now produced. You know, that $7,000 could mark off some tick marks on your checklist.
For sure. Now, kind of to put into context, since Brandon did do that specific move, I thought it was a really good point, and I think this would be worthwhile mentioning. So, same thing. I just did the same thing in Terra Peak. I went in and just took a look, and just for contrast, I just said 7,000. Now, to be clear, 7,000 Canadian. So, if I do a quick conversion, just so that we'll help each other out, here, Eric, here. So we'll convert it for you Americanos. Mm-hmm. So let's just translate what actually 7,000 Canadian actually is right now today.
$10.
Close. I'll tell you what. I will give you 10 American. When you come to Canada, I will give you 10 American dollar for 7,000 Canadian.
It seems fair to me.
Right. So anyway, it's just shy of $5,000. That's what it is. So $4,986 US. That's our baseline. Okay. So just shy of $5,000 US, so that we're on the same page. That's what it is at the time of recording. So I wanted to look. I went into Terra Peak and I just put in, just like Brandon, I put in Medano. Nothing else. Just keep it real simple. I just wanted to know what the highest sales. I sort by average sold price to the highest number. And I've got all sites the last 3 years. So there's 3 years worth of sales that we can pull data from. And I wanted to see. So the highest thing that's showing here, December 24, 2024, so Christmas Eve, an NHL debut ticket stub from the North Stars semifinals game 2. That's very interesting and very specific. $2,800 US. It falls well short of the number that we just talked about. Next highest item here. Next item is a Donruss priority, priority signings. The subset card. I actually have that card sitting in my Z Folio. The subset card in a PSA 10. So there's a PSA 10, a Pop 1 apparently, $2,730 in auction in April 2024. I have that literally sitting in my Z Folio. Not graded in a 10, obviously, but that's kind of interesting. There was a Medano collection where they say it's $12,000 worth of value. It sold for $2,500. A Medano Gold StarQuest Gold in a PSA 8 sold for $2,419 US. That's strong. The shield that I talked about, the Jamie Benn Medano dual autograph shield, $2,339. The next major one, there is a clear cut Medano that sold for $1,500. I'm sorry, I like the clear cut, but $1,500 for a clear cut, you're out of your damn mind. I don't care what it is. You're out of your damn mind. Sorry, you got ripped off, my dude. 1990 Bowman Tiffany. The Tiffany's a tough one. And a 10 Bowman Tiffany pop one, $1,280. Okay, for a Tiffany and a pop one, okay, I kind of get you. There was a Pride of the Nation 1 of 1 autograph, $1,080. Another Gold StarQuest, $1,080. The Gold StarQuests are super tough, so I get that part. All right, the next highest card right after that. 97.98 Pinnacle, totally certified Gold Mirror Platinum. This is the Gold Mirror Platinum. These are super shiny, very nice cards. PSA 8 sold June 10th, 2025. This year it sold $967.15, almost $1,000. Almost $1,000. Eric, I have a 9. Eric, I have a 9.
Yeah.
And that was, by the way, that $1,000 was for the 8. Peasant. Yeah. Listen, if you buyer of the PSA 8 for $1,000 would like a real card, like a 9.
I mean, that would have to be a trade plus $1,000, right?
Listen, you got to be Eric, we already established this. That's 1 grade higher.
Yes.
That's like 10 grand at least. Like
I was thinking 11, but yeah, all right.
Come strong.
Yeah, right.
Let's go. Brandon, I'm getting rich today.
And the 8.
I'm getting rich today. I would trade the 8 and take a bunch of cash. Bring me cash. Let's go. Holy crap. But that tells you though, like, doesn't that kind of make the point though? If you're thinking about that, it is kind of the reason why I thought the bounty thing was so interesting is because it creates a new anchor. It sets the people's mind that, oh, well, maybe these are like 7. Since when? We didn't, there was nothing prior to establish that we did. Again, I'm missing a couple of lines in the maths for us to arrive at this figure. And there was a Dominion stamped 1 of 1 that sold for $917. And the next highest after that was a Zenith Z Gold that sold in July 2024, $906.49. Again, I have that sitting in a box, that exact card sitting in a box, and that particular card, I have it in a 1-touch right now. And this card was also ungraded. 900 US.
Do you have it in the 1-touch properly?
Yes, not what you do, but properly.
That's just silly.
Mm-hmm. If we switch it like that, then I double the price. I just double it. So there you go, Brandon. The late 90s is apparently working pretty good these days. 24 and 25. Geez, holy crap. So that should tell you, Brandon, though, that Z Gold and that platinum one in an 8, a pedestrian 8, Brandon, not a 9. Like a man.
On a surface sensitive card.
Exactly. So that went for more than the Dominion Shield. What are y'all doing? Grant, 97.98, Pinnacle totally certified mirror platinum gold. Listen, my man, that's got to be at least 50, 60 grand. Let's go. Let's get the post up. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Again, the businesses can do whatever they want. It's not my business. At the end of the day, they do sell boxes, so that maybe will help with that. Maybe there is some other benefits to it as well. That could be part of that business thought process, the business plan is in it. It is interesting, but I also think it's kind of dangerous from the standpoint of the collector, because now I'm curious now what some of the other owners who have shields as well from some of the other years. Have they suddenly doubled the price of their shield, Eric, overnight just because of a hypothetical? Because again, it hasn't happened yet, but a hypothetical of a sale that could happen if someone happens to come across that card.
Is AMG going to post bounties during the podcast?
They have posted a bounty on there's a player in the CHL, or I think the CHL. that is actually related to Brad, another Heartland. So they do have a bounty for that specific player because it is family. So like that one is understandable. Like it's a very niche case. So a little bit more understandable, I would say, in terms of why they would be interested in that item.
And Alex Manoah.
Oh, Alex Manoah is a different. Listen, Alex Manoah is a different conversation entirely, my man. Alex Manoah is Alex Manoah. Never go full Manoah. We have rules about this kind of thing. Hopefully, he took our advice and didn't go full you savage either. They just, hashtag divest. Hashtag divest.
I hope he took our advice and watched today's game and was like, thank God I listened to those guys.
And the other important take, so on that bombshell, the other important takeaway is I didn't realize, Brandon, that I'm fucking rich. Holy crap. Like, listen, y'all want to pay that much for an 8. Like, I got a 9. we can do a private deal. Eric, $40 million. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
It's a private sale, Eric. It can be whatever number we want. We can just make it up. It's a private sale. We can just make it up.
Do y'all see now? You give me shit all the time saying that I'm pumping Jason Roberts. I'm just working the private sales.
No,
if you, Brandon, hold on. If you, I'll do it one more time today. To be fair.
To be fair.
Nice. Had you led with the private sale thing, we might have accepted the legitimacy of your words. A private sale is a different conversation entirely. As you well know, private sales just make up your number.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm just waiting on the buyers.
Yeah, just be like.
I've had emails. I've had emails on the green PMG, but nah, they weren't on the right playing field. We got to go up a little bit. Go to some new ballparks.
That's where you got to be like, guys, I'm talking private sales here. Like, you got to be serious. You got to be serious,
not
guys.
Seen what that market brings?
Few people don't know. Private sales is our whole different kettle of fish. $40 million for the Medano Mirror Platinum. $500 million more for my dozens and dozens and dozens of T206 Wagners. But Carlos, you don't have those. Who's to say? It's a private sale. How do you know I don't have them? Eric, how do you know I don't have them?
I don't know.
Exactly. I could be sitting on a stack of hundreds of them.
Sure.
Can't prove I didn't. Private sale. Can't prove I didn't.
Can't prove I didn't.
And you know who hand delivered it? Sasquatch.
Can't prove I didn't.
Can't prove I didn't. Private sale. I hope we've all learned something tonight. If it's private sale, it's all fair game in private sale. Who knew? Anyway, on that bombshell, that'll be it. Anything else we want to add before we finish up? You want to make any bounties, Eric? Now's your chance. I don't know. You got any bounties before Expo?
Yes, all Reggie Lumlin cards, I will be paying a strong finder's fee of $1 million.
Post it on Instagram for it to be legit.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, we're gonna need it on Instagram.
It's gotta be Instagram official.
All Reggie Lumlin cards, $1 million each.
Pictures sure didn't happen. On that bombshell, Brandon Bobbles and Ball Cards, known associated 540 Flips, future bounty maker for the Jason Robertson pump. And now that he knows that private sale is the way to legitimacy, we are ever closer. And once again, we wait. I ask you, as a people, once again, to please comment on his Michael Taylor collection. Someday, one of you will take us up on our challenge. One day. Eric Sanderson Orr, probably the most likely person to comment on the Michael Taylor collection. The comment being, "Fuck Michael Taylor! Enough of this already. Where's the Reggies?" It's not a polite comment. I didn't say there was a polite comment. I just said comment. We got to accept what we can accept. More videos coming up to the channel. Live streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the way this month is cycling, right at the end of the month, right at the end, we get a spooktacular. I'm very excited about this. This is great. I might have to invoke a little bit of hashtag effort. I might need a special overlay for that one, Eric. If I can get in a spooktacular, we might need to bring in some oranges, some bats, some pumpkins, something. I don't know.
Crazy.
We need some spooktacular out there, Anyway. All right, that's it. Episode 149 in the books. Next episode will be a live episode for episode 150, celebrating a special anniversary. And you can in the chat. You can talk about all the private sales. The bigger the numbers, the better. All the private sales. I want to hear about all the 90, 91 Pro Set cards that you're selling for millions. Hashtag private sale.
The Reggie Lemlin ones. Yes.
Hashtag private sale.
Yes.
That's it for this one. Catch you in the next one.